Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina, covering the period from today, October 19th, through next Wednesday, October 25th. I'm meteorologist Jimmy Danko. Now, first, let's just take a look at current visible satellite and radar. So you can see there's a couple areas that we're watching that will bring some clouds and maybe rain to our area. One is a coastal low that's developing over off the coast of Georgia and South Carolina. You can see some clouds are starting to spread into the coastal plain of North Carolina, and some rain starting to reach the coast. We're not expecting really any significant precipitation from this system, but I will get to that in a minute. The other area that we're watching will have more, at least somewhat more significant impacts to our area tomorrow, and that's this area of low pressure over the Great Lakes with a trailing cold front draped down into the Mississippi Valley. That will continue to press east through the day today and tomorrow. So you can see that there's clouds out ahead of it that will be advancing into our area later today. So taking a look at the latest drought assessment for North Carolina, you can see that there's still a pretty extensive area of abnormally dry D0 to moderate drought D1 conditions, basically across roughly the western half of the state, where it really has been pretty dry lately. There's been some tropical systems this season, but they've mainly affected eastern parts of the state. And last Saturday there was some rain, but again, it was mostly focused on the east, and the west really missed out on much of it, particularly in the mountains where there's still a moderate drought across that area. And the main difference really from last week is that rain that I mentioned from last Saturday did help to alleviate the abnormally dry conditions across the Triangle region. This circled area got 1.5 to 2 inches. So that helped at least there, but there's still an extensive area of dry conditions across the southern and western Piedmont and Sandhills. All right, so looking at the upcoming weather pattern for Central North Carolina, you can see that currently, today we have a cold front, as I mentioned, that will be advancing eastward into the Tennessee Valley, and as well as this coastal low that will bring some light precipitation to mainly eastern parts of North Carolina, and that will bring increased clouds across at least eastern parts of our region, as well as a slight chance of showers in the coastal plain later today and this evening. But precipitation amounts with it look very light, if any. The more significant precipitation comes tomorrow with this cold front that will be approaching and moving through it during the evening, but out ahead of it, really starting late morning tomorrow in the Triad region. There will start to be a good chance of some showers and maybe isolated storms, and that will continue eastward through the afternoon and early evening hours, perhaps multiple rounds of showers and isolated storms. And then behind that cold front, the weather looks quiet really for the rest of the period through next Wednesday, with high pressure building in. The only other notable weather really will be some breezy conditions this weekend, both on Saturday and Sunday, as this area of low pressure that's currently over the Great Lakes moves northeast into New England and deepens pretty rapidly. And that pressure gradient between the low and this Canadian high building down into the plains and Midwest, that will result in some gusty west to northwest winds, potentially as high as 20, maybe 25 miles an hour. Temperatures overall look like they'll be near normal today, highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Similar tomorrow, a little cooler in the west with the rain and clouds coming pretty early there, and maybe a little warmer in the east. And then the actual cool air is a little bit delayed and doesn't really arrive until Sunday, it looks like. So near normal again Saturday, and then we really cool down on Sunday and Monday with highs mainly in the 60s and lows in the upper 30s to lower 40s. So some isolated, maybe patchy frost can't be entirely ruled out on Monday and Tuesday mornings as that high builds in, and we get some clear skies and calm winds. If we're able to radiate pretty well, could have some patchy frost maybe. And then temperatures start to moderate again Tuesday and Wednesday as that high starts to shift offshore. Rainfall forecast through the next 5 days. Again, today maybe just some very light amounts, a few hundredths of an inch possible in the coastal plain with that area of low pressure. Tomorrow, expect generally around a 1/4 inch on average in most places, maybe up to a 1/2 inch. And locally higher amounts can't be ruled out where any storms do develop. And then really just dry the rest of the period. Looking at severe storm potential, really the only threat of any storms comes tomorrow. And the Storm Prediction Center does have us in just a risk for general thunderstorms. They have a level 1 or marginal risk for severe storms down across eastern Georgia and eastern South Carolina, and just extreme southeast North Carolina, not getting into our area though. It's possible that marginal risk expands westward, but up here this far north, the instability looks like it'll be really meager. So that will be the limiting factor of the instability, especially with all that cloud cover that will be over our area tomorrow. So not expecting widespread severe storms or really much of any severe threat at this time, but we will definitely keep watching it and let you know if anything changes with that, and if they do end up expanding this marginal risk area further north. And yeah, and otherwise no storms are expected through the next 7 days. And really no threat of excessive rain or flooding through the next few days. Tomorrow's rain just doesn't look like it'll be heavy enough really for any flooding threat. Looking at the tropics, the only area really of any concern is Tropical Storm Tammy, which has strengthened some this morning, but you can see that it is expected to curve out to sea and really not affect any of the continental U.S. at all. All the models are consistent in showing that. It is expected to become a hurricane this weekend and maybe could cause some increased surf and rip currents. And looking at the 8 to 14 day outlook, from the Climate Prediction Center. This is valid from October 24th through the 30th. You can see that they have central North Carolina in an increased chance of above normal temperatures and slightly increased chances of below normal precipitation. And for reference, average highs at time of year are in the upper 60s to low 70s with average lows in the mid to upper 40s. So again, just to summarize, there's a area of low pressure developing off the southeast US coast today and tonight that will bring increasing clouds and maybe a few light showers in the coastal plain. No significant impacts from that. Tomorrow is a better chance of widespread showers and maybe isolated storms with a trough and cold front that will be moving through. And that timing of that is first late morning in the west and spreading east in the afternoon and early evening. And not expecting much in the way of a severe threat at this time. And then just some gusty winds possible Saturday and Sunday up to 20-25 miles an hour possible. But otherwise the weather looks quiet for the rest of the period. And highs generally in the upper 60s to low 70s for the next few days, and then cooling down. The coolest days look to be on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. This is the forecast for Raleigh in particular. You can see forecast highs in the 60s, lows in the low 40s, and then starting to moderate on Wednesday. And really the only potential hazard or impact from any of this is the patchy frost that can't be ruled out on Monday and Tuesday mornings. Temperatures look pretty marginal at this time, but the cooler spots can't be ruled out. Some mid to upper 30s definitely can't be ruled out on those mornings. All right, that wraps up the weekly webinar. Thank you for listening.